You spent 12 years learning how to follow instructions, but you spent 0 minutes learning how to lead yourself. Today, we're teaching you the hidden curriculum of adulthood they didn't want you to know. Let's start off by talking about the B. Over 50% of employers say recent graduates are unprepared for the workforce in terms of leadership and self-management. So, for the squad, why does the school system benefit from keeping students as passengers?
I don't think it's the school system that does as much as the workforce system. I think the workforce system is built and designed to keep people ready to go to the workforce, and the school system is just unable to break those shackles because they're obligated to so many other things now, including the people they buy the books from, all of those different types of things. They got these multi-year contracts, and it's hard to reimagine education.
I love that.
I think that the school system doesn't teach certain skills that are needed to take the students from passengers to the drivers of their careers or success, whatever that may be, simply because when we look at how the school system is actually set up, you sit in a class where you do what a teacher tells you to do. You have to learn what a teacher tells you to learn in the way that they want you to learn it. You have to take an assessment on a particular subject in a particular way that they want you to learn it. So these tests or assessments aren't really assessing your ability to adjust and translate information from different points of view. It's, I want to test them if they can recognize it like this or whatever. They're not testing your capacity to learn, right? They're testing your capacity to demonstrate what they are expecting you to know in the way that they want you to know it. And so they're not teaching particular skills that are needed to take children from passive learners to independent thinkers. So we're just consumers of what people are telling us. Look at how the system is. When we're elementary, the students got to walk in lines on the right side of the hallway. They have to conduct themselves in a certain way. Yes, we need management, but there's a way that we can create an environment that promotes curiosity in the way of learning. So that's just my thought of how the school system is set up within itself like a factory model, which contributes to us being factory workers instead of independent thinkers.
Yeah, I also agree with that because I used to have kids on the test. It used to be funny because they'd be like, they would always say, you can learn however you want to, do it your own strategy. I'd be like, yeah, the people tell you that. But when that test come, you gotta do it this way. you gotta answer it this exact way because it's gonna be set up in a certain way. So I guess a school can benefit because for keeping kids in school longer, you say, is that what you're saying?
I believe it was just not preparing them. Like we pulled out,
Okay.
keeping kids as passengers and not teaching them how to be self-independent.
Yeah. Because they might teach them just to get the scores high. So they teach them certain way, but in reality, that the way they teach them not going to make them a better person in life or make them do what they need to do to actually succeed. Yes, it benefits the school because they star scores are high. They have an A+ rating, but at the end of the day, the kids don't really know how to actually problem solve anything in life. So that's one way.
And
Man,
then also,
go ahead.
Another point is, let's think about financial literacy. They teach the bare minimum of financial literacy. They talk about a bank account, they talk about interest, credit cards, and they talk about that type of finances, but they don't teach in the school system about how money actually works, how you can invest, which when you invest in companies that can actually help our economy. But that also means individuals now are learning or being informed about how my money can make money and things of that nature. And so that's why I say, like, the system doesn't teach certain things that would definitely benefit the students to become independent thinkers. So if I can go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you spinning the bar right there, because when you look at even the traits and skills necessary for entrepreneurship, most of it is pushing back against the system, is reimagining things, being creative, combining wisdom and hard work. Most of it is those type of things. And so that same student who seems to want to go do their own thing may have the traits necessary for an entrepreneur, but entrepreneurship, and don't get me wrong, they're teaching it now. They are teaching it now. But for the most part, even how they're going about teaching it is not very realistic. But just to your point, if they did do that, hey, things will flow differently. The money flows will be totally differently. But let me stop there.
No, this is very good. I'm glad we're all in sync here, because it actually flows in with the no portion. And I'm going to leave this up for our students to do a little bit of critical thinking here in regards to this, because I think what we've said here today, whether y'all realize it or not, young people, is basically at the core of a lot of what is missing for y'all. I'm going to start off by saying this: connection and correlation. Earlier today, I talked a little bit about how I've noticed that the older I get, the more things are truly connected. And I'm reminded of this time when I was in college. One of my favorite words was correlation. They talked about it a lot in microeconomics. They talked about it a lot in the statistics, how two things can be correlated, meaning they can be connected, because of if one thing is losing, another thing will lose out because the thing A was losing. And in regards to correlation, I just want to drop this stat for y'all. 2 stats. The average 22-year-old in the US now spends 45% of their income on debt and housing before buying a single bag of groceries. I'm gonna say that one more time. The average 22-year-old, so we're assuming this person has just graduated from college, or is still in college, or is in some sort of training, or is out in the workforce, maybe in the military, right? Doing the 6 things you can do after high school. The average 22-year-old in the US right now spends 45% on nearly half of their income, what they make, on debt and housing before buying a single bag of groceries. Second stat, 60% of millennials live paycheck to paycheck, right? So think about what we just stated about what's missing in schools, or what y'all are not getting in schools, and how that affects you as you get older. What's the correlation there? So I'm just going to leave it there for y'all. Lastly, let's jump into the do portion. Now, one more stat for y'all in regards to the do. We're talking about how we take who we are and what we know and come up with a plan and execute with excellence, okay? Students who score high on independence measures in the first year of college, right? So students who score high in regards to being independent and being able to take care of themselves, navigate on their own, are 50% less likely to drop out. And as soon as I read that stat, I thought about this. How many people, and this is for the squad for sure, how many of y'all remember, or like when you were in college or even after college, hearing about someone who went to college and came home because they missed their parents, they missed their family?
1,000%.
Right? Think about that. Think about that. So many times I'm homesick. Not if you're Nigerian. Nigerian kids, any excuse. You from Texas? I'm going to school in Canada. Like what? There's 18.
He said there's 18 states in between.
But my question for the squad is the last question for the squad. What is the one adulting skill, or what is one adulting skill that can save our students like 10,000 in their first year out of school? What's one adulting skill that will save our students 10,000 in their first year out of school?
Learning how to drive.
Oh, damn.
It's funny because they're saying, oh, these kids don't want to learn how to drive. They don't want to learn how to drive. And if you calculate the cost of Uber versus vehicle ownership, right, it's astronomically different. So you might spend, and nowadays people say, oh, cars are way more expensive. And if you're buying brand new and you have bad credit, or something like that, then yeah, you're gonna spend $800-900 a month on a car. But if you're buying a relatively inexpensive car, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, it's not going to be the best car. It is going to get you point A to point B. But I bet you, if you said, "Hey, listen, I will be the person on campus who will give the rides from point A to point B. I'm going to a grocery store. I'll go every Friday. I need $10 a person who's coming." You know what I'm saying? You're going to save money. And just even you going yourself, just something as simple as going to pick up your food versus ordering Uber Eats. It's a significant difference in terms of how much you're spending every year.
For me, mine would be, this will be in reference to the students who have to take out loans, understanding the difference between a subsidized loan and an unsubsidized loan before you accept those loans. A subsidized loan means you're not responsible for the interest until after you graduate, 6 months after you graduate, whereas a subsidized loan, if you accept that unsubsidized loan, you are responsible for the interest the day that you accept that loan. So that means that interest is accruing on that loan from day one. So if you're going to a 4-year college and it takes you X amount of years to graduate, every single day that interest is accruing on top of that loan. So by the time you graduate, you're going to owe more than you borrowed for that particular loan. So that's something that can save you money as well, just having that information.
Mine would just be common sense. I wish you just have common sense knowing that your apartment don't have to be $3,000 a month. Like, you don't have to go stay in that area over here. Like Festa said, you don't have to, like, our cars, this car's brand new, still $20,000. Why are you going to get an $8,000 car when you only make $30,000 a year? Just common sense. Like, you can't spend, if you only got $3,000 in your account, you only got $500 in your account, you can't spend $600 on some clothes. It's just basic common sense. Like, you can't go to Starbucks every day if you like and set a budget. So just common sense, really.
I just want to thank y'all for that. I was writing down as y'all were talking, and yeah, a lot of money to be saved. I'm going to go over these real quick. From Festus, I heard vehicle ownership and maintenance. I think that's the key right there. Not just ownership, but maintenance. Ownership in regards of how you're purchasing the car, right? What type of car you purchase. This is going to start creating, you're basically critically thinking, right? This is the difference between getting a Toyota and getting a Mercedes when you're 20 years old, right? And also maintenance. Maintenance is the key. I got a quick story for you. Whenever I drive my mom around, she will make me go in a completely different route to get home or to go to a certain place. And within, I'd say, a 5 to 10 mile radius, she knows which roads are horrible. So think about that. In a city like Houston, we live in Houston, the roads can get bumpy from time to time. I'm being nice, but you can get some bumps on the road, and think about what that does to your suspension. Some of the most expensive, trust me, I know, some of the most expensive fixes on a car are done to suspension. Just that little thing of knowing where to go can save you so much down the road. Festus, you brought up a great point about critically thinking in regards to creating problems. I'm sorry, not creating problems, solving problems. And so the thing I always think about is the bigger the problem, the bigger the benefit, right? And so that, I love that point right there. Crawford, what you mentioned about loans was so key, because especially in this day and age, there are so many options out there for young people, not just to get an associate's degree with their diploma, but to get advanced training and knowledge, at least, while they're still in high school. But these benefits will come to those who are willing to put in the work. We talked about steadfastness. We talked about being able to persevere. We talked about having grit, right? You don't want to put yourself in a position where you have these huge dreams, but you don't have the foundation. You don't have the wherewithal or the drive to be able to get those things. And we all have grand ideas. The question is, are we doing what we need to do to get there? And I think all of that is wrapped around what you said, D. Hill, as far as common sense. and this is the last thing I'm gonna say. We had an in-person EduSteps with Dr. Oyele, an amazing woman. She's a lawyer, she's a nursing school professor, and she is a veteran educator. And one of the most powerful things she said whenever she moved in life, you remember this, Festus? I think Dr. Crawford, you were there as well. She said, what is the next logical step I should take? What is the next most logical step? And in this world where our students are getting we talked about it, inundated with so many messages, mixed messages, right? You got to make sure you have the right people around you. You got to make sure you know the resources and how to use them to help you figure out what is the next most logical step. So that's going to be it for this latest episode of Steps for Success, powered by Laddering Your Success. For Daniel Hill, Dr. Jamar Crawford, my name is Ole Sharonki. Thank you for listening. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on what you've heard today or watched today. For Festus, please go ahead and hit us with the phrase it pays.
Listen, there are legitimate reasons for not going to college. There's no legitimate reason for not getting an education. We're going to see you on the next episode.